Hi everyone! This is a special episode of Firebreathing Kittens. I'm the Game Master for an upcoming session using the rules for a tabletop role-playing game system called No Port Called Home. This episode is a summary of what I learned after reading the rulebook. Hopefully this will be a handy guide for how to play for my players, will help me organize myself, and will be useful for you listeners too who are looking to play No Port Called Home yourselves. There are a dozen different races to pick from in No Port Called Home. They include humans, giant jotunn, amphibious nix, genetically enhanced vesp, nomadic hedonistic fae, indestructible robotic archon, freed former worker drone tsuku, and more. When you build your character, you will pick one of these races. Use the race's character sheet as your starting character sheet, that you'll add more and more things to later. The rulebook has an example crewmate named Zephyr, who is a tsuku race, a freed former worker drone. I will refer to Zephyr's character sheet throughout this How to Play guide, using Zephyr as an example. Let's talk about classes. No Place Called Home has nearly 40 classes. You will pick 3 of them to build your character. These classes include, for example, a calibrist who obsessively optimizes a firearm, a sword fiend who stabs opponents with pointy objects, a martial artist who fights with their hands, a brute who fights with this chair they happened to find, a fortress that gains defensive bonuses as long as they hold their position, an engineer who can maintain and improve the team's vehicle, a strategist who can delegate extra actions to their teammates, a con artist who lies and fibs, a changeling who can rearrange their limbs, a conduit who can splice their mind into machines to remote listen to conversations, a swarm master with clouds of loyal insects, and more. Doesn't that sound like a lot of fun options? Great news! You get to pick not 1, not 2, but 3 of them. Which 3 should you pick? The rulebook suggests picking a combination of classes that empower you to take action both in and out of combat. Don't limit yourself to only in-combat effects. For our example character build, Zephyr has the 3 classes of martial artist who fights with their hands, free runner who sprints and runs and does flips, and ranger who prevents their teammates from setting off terrain effects through their expert guidance. Each class has some questions to think and write about. For example, among other questions, the ranger asks you to list 4 places you have been. The martial artist asks you, amongst other questions, if you advertise the fact that you are skilled in combat, or do you allow others to underestimate you on purpose? The free runner asks you what you would do if a situation forced you to leave someone behind who could not run as fast. The 3 classes you pick will have questions that help you think about how your character would act. Let's talk about skills. There are 4 categories of skills: physical, social, knowledge, and practical. Physical skills include agility, dexterity, strength, your ability to orient yourself in zero gravity, stealth, endurance, and how well you can squirm out of a situation. Knowledge skills include your knowledge of biotech, history, people, places, engineering, computers, and medicine. Social skills include your ability to soothe, entertain, deceive, manipulate, persuade, command, and read people. Practical skills include your perception, survival, research, crafting, and piloting skills. There are more than 20 skills overall. When you pick 3 classes, each class will come with points in skills and stats. Start out with a 0 in all skills, and then add the numbers from your classes and write the total on your character sheet. For example, Zephyr is a martial artist, free runner, and ranger. The martial artist gives them +2 in all physical abilities, so that's a 2 in agility, dexterity, strength, 0G, stealth, endurance, and squirm. The martial artist also adds 2 in people reading. The free runner adds 4 to agility and 0G, bringing those up to 6, and adds 2 in stealth, endurance, and squirm, bringing those up to 4, and also adds 2 to entertain and perception. The ranger adds 2 to agility, endurance, stealth, knowledge of biotech, knowledge of places, soothe, perception, survival, and craft. That bumps Zephyr's agility up to 8, and at 6, their endurance, 0G, and stealth are pretty high too. This has been an example of how to add your 3 classes' skills together to get your character's starting skill numbers. Here are some example skill rolls Zephyr could make in No Place Called Home. Hungry in a field outside town, Zephyr might roll a 20-sided dice, also called a d20, and add their survival skill to forage for edible greens. If Zephyr was trying to think of a low-cost bakery in town, you would roll on a 20-sided dice, also called a d20, plus their place's skill number. If Zephyr was trying to persuade a non-player character, or NPC, to give them a discount on day-old baked goods, you would roll a d20 and add your persuade skill number. If you were trying to sneak past the baker to get into the kitchen, that would be a stealth roll of a d20 plus your stealth skill. If the baker found you and you wanted to jump out the window, that would be a d20 plus Zephyr's agility skill. You would roll like this using your skills when attempting to accomplish a goal outside of combat. Let's talk about stats. Your character's starting stats are the sum of the stats they get from their 3 classes. Add together the numbers and the symbols from each of your 3 classes and your race to get your starting stats. There are 8 stats in No Place Called Home: hit points, attack and defense, initiative, skills per level, and willpower, reflex, and fortitude. Hit points are the cross symbol. If your character reaches -10 hit points, they die. Zephyr has 22 hit points, so if they take 22 points of damage, they would reach 0 hit points and fall unconscious. And if they take 32 points of damage, they would hit -10 and die. Attack is the symbol that looks like a sniper scope, and defense is the shield symbol. The attack skill is the number you add to a roll of a 20-sided dice, also called a d20, when you attack. You hit your target if you meet or beat their defense roll. When someone attacks you, roll a 20-sided dice, also called a d20, and add your defense number. If your defense roll beats their attack roll, their attack missed you, and you take no damage. For example, Zephyr has a 3 in attack and a 4 in defense. When trying to attack someone, Zephyr rolls their 20-sided dice and adds their attack of 3. When being attacked by someone, Zephyr rolls a 20-sided dice and adds their defense of 4. Because the average is a 10 on a 20-sided dice, Zephyr's average attack is 13 and average defense is 14. Here is an example attack. From their class bonuses, if they're attacking unarmed, Zephyr gets 2 more conditional attack bonus from Martial Artist and 1 from Freerunner. Their hands are 2d4 bludgeoning weapons from their Martial Artist class. Zephyr swings a punch at their target. You roll a d20 and add your base attack, which is 3, and also add your conditional attack because you are attacking unarmed. That's a 10 on the dice, plus 3 for your base attack, plus 2 plus 1 for conditional attack bonuses for being unarmed, for a 16 total to hit. Meet it to beat it, you would hit any enemy that has a 16, 15, 14, 13, etc. lower defense. To calculate the damage dealt, you would roll 2 4-sided dice, also called d4, and add the results together. For example, if one dice was a 3 and one dice was a 1, that would be 4 bludgeoning damage total from your martial artist's fists. Initiative is the symbol that looks like a diamond floating above a ripple on a pond. Initiative is the order people take action during combat. When a fight starts, everyone rolls a 20-sided dice and adds their initiative number. The highest rolls go first. For example, Zephyr has a 4 in initiative. If Zephyr rolled a 10 on their dice and added their 4 in initiative, the total would be 14. With 14 as their initiative roll, Zephyr would take action before people who rolled a 13 or below. But someone who rolled a 15 or higher would get to take action before Zephyr. Skills per level is the symbol that looks like a concave triangle with 3 dots on its 3 sides. Your character's skills per level stat is how many skill ranks you gain each time you level up. These skill ranks are spread out amongst all your skills. When you level up, if you have the skill point for it, you can increase a single skill 1 point. Zephyr has a 6 in their stat of skills per level. This means that of the 26 skills, they can increase 6 of them by 1 point each time they level up. For example, they level up and choose to increase their agility, dexterity, stealth, endurance, craft, and piloting skills by 1 point each. Because we're talking about leveling up, I should mention that when you level up, you get to pick 2 feats that must be in different classes. My players, you will be leveling up twice, so you should have 4 feats total, with at most 2 of them in the same class. Willpower is the circle symbol, reflexes is the diamond symbol, and fortitude symbol is a rectangle wider at the base than the top. Willpower, reflexes, and fortitude are all resistance bonuses. When a danger is attacking you in a specific way, your game master might prompt you to roll a saving throw. Zephyr's willpower is 2. If the game master says the enemy is very scary, and Zephyr should roll a willpower saving throw to see if they're afraid or not, they would roll a 20-sided dice, also called a d20, and add their willpower of 2. For willpower, Zephyr's lowest possible roll is a 3, and highest possible roll is a 22. Zephyr's reflex stat is 7. If the game master says the floor is collapsing under Zephyr, and a successful reflex save will let them jump out of the way instead of falling, Zephyr would roll a d20 and add their reflex stat of 7. For reflex, Zephyr's lowest possible roll is an 8, and highest possible roll is a 27. The last resistance type is fortitude, which Zephyr has a 2 in. If the game master says that Zephyr has just been poisoned, Zephyr would roll a d20 and add 2 to their roll to resist this challenge to their fortitude. Along with numbers for stats and skills, your character's 3 classes will also come with a variety of other conditional bonuses and physical equipment. For example, the Ranger gives Zephyr the equipment of a tent, 10 meters of rope, a compass, matches, a 2d4 hunting knife, a water filter, sturdy shoes, bug spray, and sunscreen. The Free Runner gives Zephyr an extra reaction per round, and +1 to attack when attacking unarmed. The Martial Artist gives Zephyr a +2 to attack when attacking unarmed, and Zephyr's hands now count as 2d4 bludgeoning weapons. Write these conditional bonuses, equipment, and other details from your 3 classes on your character sheet. For the players in my upcoming session, please level up twice. Each level up will increase your feats and your skills. For feats, choose 2 feats that must be from different classes. We're leveling up twice, so you should have 4 feats on your character sheet for this session. For stats, with each level up, you can increase the level up stats number of skills by 1. For example, if you have a 5 in your level up stat, you can increase 5 of your stats by 1 point each time you level up. You can choose different skills the second time you level up if you like. Hopefully this little rules chat helps my players build their characters and understand combat and skills. For everyone listening, we encourage you to find the No Port Called Home rulebook yourself and play a game with friends. And if you'd like to hear an example adventure, I am looking forward to playing No Port Called Home in an upcoming session.